Hi, second graders. Today we are going to be reading this story, Dog Breath, The Horrible Trouble with Halitosis, and it is by Dave Pilkey. So as we read this book, I want you guys to be focusing on a few story elements. I want you guys to be thinking about the characters, the setting, and then the plot. And for the plot, we are really going to be working on thinking about what happens at the beginning of the story, what happens at the middle of the story, and what happens at the end of the story. And I want you guys, our goal at the end is going to be to come up with at least one sentence for the beginning, for the middle, and for the end. So as you're listening to the story, I want you guys to keep that in mind so that you are able to share your sentences about what happens. So let's read the story. It's called, once again, it's called Dog Breath, and it is by Dave Pilkey, and it is published by Scholastic. There once was a dog named Hallie who lived with the Tosis family. Halitosis was a very good dog, but she had a big problem. Halitosis had horrible breath. Whenever Halitosis opened her mouth, horrible things happened. You can see her breath is all that green stuff. It does not look like you would want to be around that. When the children took Halitosis for a walk, everyone else walked on the other side of the street. Even the skunks avoided Halitosis. But the real trouble started one day when Grandma Tosis stopped by for a cup of tea, and Hallie jumped up to say hello. Mr. and Mrs. Tosis were not amused. Something has to be done about that smelly dog, they said. The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis decided to find a new home for Hallie. The children knew that the only way they could save their dog was to get rid of her bad breath, so they took Halitosis to the top of a mountain that had a breathtaking view. What do you guys think you would do to keep Halitosis? What are some things you might try? They hoped that the breathtaking view would take Hallie's breath away. But it didn't. Next, the children took Halitosis to a very exciting movie. They hoped that all the excitement would leave Hallie breathless. And you're seeing a movie called The Breath of a Salesman. But it didn't. Finally, the children took Halitosis to a carnival. They hoped that Hallie would lose her breath on the speedy roller coaster. Oh no, look what's happening. So all the other kids behind her on the roller coaster. That idea stunk too. The plans to change Hallie's bad breath had failed. Now only a miracle could save Halitosis. Sadly, the three friends said goodnight, unaware that a miracle was just on the horizon. Later that night, when everyone was sound asleep, two sneaky burglars crept into the Tosis house. The two burglars were tiptoeing through the dark, quiet rooms when suddenly they came upon Halitosis. Yikes, whispered one burglar. It's a big, mean, scary dog. Ah, don't be silly, whispered the other burglar. It's only a cute little fuzzy puppy. Make a prediction. What do you guys think is going to happen? The two burglars giggled at the sight of such a friendly little dog. That dog couldn't hurt a fly, whispered one burglar. Come here, Poochie Poochie, whispered the other. So Halitosis came over and gave the burglars a nice big kiss. Slurp. The next morning, the Tosis family awoke to find two burglars passed out cold on their living room floor. It was a miracle. The Tosis family got a big reward for turning in the crooks, and soon Halitosis was the most famous crime-fighting dog in the country. In the end, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis changed their mind about finding a new home for Hallie. They decided to keep their wonderful watchdog after all. Because life without Halitosis just wouldn't make any sense. The end. So what you're going to do next with your teachers, you are going to be discussing the characters, the setting, as well as the plot of this book. And again, you're going to be focusing on what happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened in the end of this story. I'll see you guys again soon.